to authenticate the Bible, or kind of show some things that you might have not known about the Bible that are hidden within the Bible to help authenticate God's message. So this Did You Know is about, did you know that the Christian gospel is hidden in the Torah? So in the Bible, names were situational. They were really based on what was going on at the time and the situation at hand. My mother used to tell me a joke when I was younger. It's not as politically correct anymore, but it was a joke about a kid, part of an Indian tribe, and his father was the chief of the tribe. And the little boy would ask his father, Father, why did you name my sister Soaring Eagle? And the father said to the little boy, well, son, one day I was on the edge of a cliff, and a flying eagle flew across the blue sky, and when I went home, your sister was born. So I named her Flying Eagle. And the boy said, Father, why did you name my brother Strong Bear? And he said to the son, one day when I was in the day your brother was born, I had seen a strong bear in the woods. He ripped a tree out of the ground. And so I named your brother Strong Bear. Why do you ask, pooping dog? Right, so, because names were situational, right? They were based on the situation at the time. So Proverbs 25:2 says, it is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings to search out a matter, right? According to the Bible, we are priests and kings, right? So God has enjoyment in concealing something, right, for us to find later, right? He doesn't ever conceal the message, the message of salvation, doesn't ever conceal the core message of the Bible, but I believe he puts these things in the Bible for us to find to help add to the authenticity of the Bible. So one of those findings is Genesis 5. Right? If you look at Genesis 5, it's the Bible. The Bible lists out the genealogy of Adam through Noah and his sons. It's a very kind of a boring chapter, right? You read it and you're like, okay, Adam begot Enosh, and it goes on and on, right? And it's something we typically would skip over. But, it's one of the ways that we think God has authenticated the Bible. The Jews read and venerate the Torah, right? The Torah is the Bible for the Jews. They venerate the Torah, right? They believe in the Old Testament, right? But they don't read the New Testament. They don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah because they don't believe that the Messiah was supposed to come to die, but come to rule first, and that not that he had to die first, right? So they don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah. They're still waiting for the Messiah to come to rule, right? So there's 10 names mentioned. Adam begot Seth. Seth begot Enosh. Enosh begot Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah. The names in the Bible are transliterated. That means they're written in a way to approximate the sound. They're not translated from the Hebrew. They're there to approximate the sound that it made in the original language. So what is the English meaning of these words, of these names, as we translate them? Right? There are a lot of study aids out there, a lot of lexicons, but they can prove very superficial when dealing with names. Right? And so we have to go back to the original Hebrew roots and the original Hebrew meanings of the names. And even those themselves are not without controversy and variance. So let's deep dive into one of those names, Methuselah. Right? Methuselah means his death shall bring, right? His death shall bring. It comes from the root word muth or mutho, meaning death, and shalach, meaning to bring or to send forth, to bring or to send forth. His death shall bring. So Methuselah's father was Enoch, who preached about the flood for 4 generations. Right? Enoch was a teacher and spoke about the flood for 4 generations. Methuselah is the oldest man in the Bible. Right? Died at 969 years. Methuselah had Lamech at 187 years of age. At 187 years of age. Right? People lived a long time back then. Lamech had Noah at 182 years of age. So Methuselah's son had Noah at the age of 182. The flood came in Noah's 600th year. Right? So the Bible says that the flood came in Noah's 600th year. So if you actually add that up, when Methuselah had Lamech, when Lamech had Noah, when the flood came. So 187 plus 682 plus 600, because it came in Noah's 600th year, equals 969. That's the age of Methuselah. Methuselah died the year the flood came. Right? Methuselah died the year the flood came. Enoch knew that when his son died, that the flood would come. So his name was, his death shall bring. right? His death shall bring the flood. Right? There's a joke that Dr. Chuck Mister likes to make that every time Methuselah got sick and had the flu, the whole town went into a panic, right? Because if he was going to pass away, they knew the flood was coming. And here's a little chart here to visualize that, the 187, the 182, and down to the 600. So let's go through the other names. Not as much detail, but just to give you an idea. Right, Adam comes from the root word Adamah, meaning man, earth, or as in first of man or all of mankind. Seth, meaning appointed. When he was born, Eve said, "For God had appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew." Genesis 4:25. Enosh means mortal or mortal man, frail, weak, right, miserable, right. In the days of Enoch, men began to defile the name of God, right, meaning mortal. Kenan, this one's a little tricky, right? Not to be confused with Canaan, which a lot of people do because Balaam uses the Kenan, uses it as a pun in Numbers 24. If you look at the Strong Concordance, it says that it means possession, but it's from the root word which means Canaan, which is associated with bird nesting. But a better definition is the word Kenan, which is sorrow and dirge. Kenan, and it comes from that same root word of sorrow and dirge. Right? So Kenan would equal sorrow or dirge or elegy. Mahalelo means the blessed or praised. Right? Anytime you add the word El to something, El is the name of God, so you have the blessed God. Just like Daniel is God of my judge. Nathaniel is gift of God. Jared comes from the verb Yodard, shall come down or to descend. Right? Enoch comes from the word teaching. He was from the root word Hanak, right? To teaching, to train, to dedicate. He was the first of 4 generations of preachers. Methuselah, we talked about, his death shall bring. Lamech, right, from the root word lament or lamentation, so it means despairing. And Noah, the root word of Nachem, to bring relief or comfort. Right? My pronunciation of these root words obviously is off. I don't speak fluent Hebrew. But as described in Genesis 5:29, and he called his name Noah, saying, this same shall comfort or concerning our work and toil of our hands. Right? So Noah means to bring forth, to bring relief or comfort. See, if you look at all those names as the Bible goes through, Adam begot Seth, Seth begot Enosh, Enosh begot Kenan, Methuselah, Jared. Right? And we look at the English translation of those words: man, appointed, mortal, sorrow. The blessed God shall come down, teaching. His death shall bring the despairing rest or comfort. All right? Let's phrase that out as a sentence. Man is appointed mortal sorrow, but the blessed God shall come down teaching that his death shall bring the despairing rest or comfort. Do you think that Jewish scholars planned it that way? That they took that the Messiah would die and hid it in the genealogy of Adam? Right? I don't think so. I do not think so. Right? It's an interesting find, and this is one of the many that you'll find within the Bible that help authenticate, right, that the New Testament is hidden and concealed within the Old Testament. Now you know that the Christian gospel is hidden in the Torah, within the genealogy of Adam. Thank you very much.